Welcome to the Men's Collective podcast. In this space, we keep the conversations real, inspiring, and challenging you to become the man you are destined to be. Your family needs you to be better. Your friends need you to be better. We need you to be better. We are your hosts, the Average Joes. Gentlemen, welcome to the Men's Collective podcast. We are the Average Joes. Jamie, great to have you back again, mate. You always good looking fella sitting next to me. It was good to have you there.
Thanks, mate. Appreciate it. Hey, boys.
Miguel, good to have you back, mate. Been a couple of weeks.
Yeah, it has been. It's a good way to finish the week off. Looking forward to it. Been almost been in the fetal position, mate. Missing it.
Missing it.
It's good.
We've been missing you. Missing that
Why do you
raw
lie
Australia.
all the time, Wayne?
The what, sorry?
Why do you keep lying to me, Wayne? No, it's good. It's good to be here. A great way to finish the week and good guys doing good things.
Good. Special guest, Jimmy Wilkins from the block, 2020.
How you going? Yes, 2020. Seems like so long ago now.
I actually thought it was only 2 years ago. I'm telling everybody, I think it's like 2 years ago. And then I did a bit more research. I'm like, 4 years ago.
Yeah,
Does
time
not
flies,
seem
eh?
that.
Time flies.
Well, it's good to have you on the show, buddy.
Thank you, mate. Thanks for
Really,
the invite.
really good. No, mate, I've been following you since the block. And, saw all your socials for a long time. Went, you'd be good to reach out. And being a fellow plumber as well, that's obviously a good bloke. That's
Stick together, don't we?
that's a tick of the box right away,
Just push those sparkies away.
mate.
Well, gets rid of the smell, so keep them over there.
I have heard that they have started to buy brooms, but I've yet to see a Sparky use one.
Just because they bought it doesn't mean they're going to use it.
if you own the tool, mate, learn how to use it at least, Jim. Jamie, sorry. Well, gentlemen, topic for this week, I've given it a heading, the camera is always rolling. And I'll start by giving a bit of an analogy. And Jimmy, I'd love to start with you and a bit of your story about your time on the block. But I got this concept behind the topic for this week about the camera's always rolling, because one of the things I've learned over the last few years about integrity is that the way you do one thing is the way you do everything. Now, what I mean by that is it's one thing to be one style of person in front of the camera as such, or one person in front of business associates, or one person in front of your family, but then be someone completely different in secret. Because at the end of the day, who you are in secret is the real you. And so I've looked at that in the past and gone, okay, well, who am I when no one's around? When no one's looking, when no one can see, let's call it the real Wayne. When no one can see that, experience it, hear it, that's the real me, because you drop your guard, you act different. Like there is a different you. And if I stand back and look at my own life and go, wow, who am I in secret? That's the real me. Is it a real me that I would like everyone to know about? If I go back, say, the last year, 5 years, 10 years, whatever it is, and that can be displayed on a video screen, would I be able to stand back and be proud about everything being exposed? And so it challenges you to be a man of integrity, because you stand back and you go, okay, well, how I'm going to do this one thing is how I do everything. How I act towards somebody is how I'm going to act towards everybody. And so I thought I'd put it into a topic today, throw some questions around and get your thoughts as we always do, and look at it from a perspective of, if the camera's always rolling, so you can't just shy away, hide behind somewhere. At the end of the day, the camera is always rolling. Jimmy, I'd love to start with you and your story about your time on the block, mate. So take your time, tell us a little bit about, obviously, because there's a bit of controversy about when you guys did win, and I'd love to hear from that, because that's TV history right there.
It is indeed.
And it actually ties into, I guess, really well with our topic here, because somebody was one person in front of the camera, and then when it got exposed, the reality was that it was so fake. So, mate, I'd love to start with your story, mate. Tell us all about it.
Well, I mean, Tam and I were just your standard. We were labelled as the Aussie battlers when we went on the block, because I was working for the man in Brisbane as a plumber. Tam was a bar manager, and we always were looking for that break, that big break. How do we get ahead? How do we, we tried a few different businesses away from plumbing and things like that, and didn't succeed. And the block was our big break. It was our sort of, we need to make the most of this opportunity. And we did. I mean, we did go on to the block with the game plan, which falls into what we're talking about today is, are you the same person on camera as off camera? Our plan was to obviously be ourselves, be authentic, but stay out of the drama, not get involved in any of that sort of stuff. So that was pretty much what we went in to do, and we achieved that. So, I mean, that to us is really hard to achieve, because what people don't realise is the block. You're in this bubble, you're in this little block bubble, is what we used to call it, where you're fatigued, you're stressed, everything that's going on, and it all builds up, and the smallest little thing can make you crack. And then you see it on TV, that when they get to that sort of, we talk about our cup being too full and overflowing, like you can see people's cups filling and filling and filling, and then all of a sudden it's over, and then it's just a downhill spiral the whole way down for the rest of the show. And you can see that from a mile away. So being aware of that happening going into making the show, I think really gave us advantage, because people do go into it completely blind and flip their lid straight off the bat. And then it's, producers pick up on that too. They pick up on that you are easily going to lose it, and they'll play to it. I mean, they're there to make a good TV show.
Interesting.
And if they know they can do that easily, then they're going to play on it. That's their job, and they do a great job at it. So, I mean, going in with that plan to stay away from all that sort of stuff, I think it really paid off for us.
Yeah. It's interesting you say that, because part of me reaching out to you to invite you onto the show was the fact that the way that TV presented you to the audience, and me being the audience, it was edited in a way to make you look, oh, this guy's approachable. This guy would be a pretty good guy to hang out with.
Thank God I got that edit.
But isn't it interesting though, and the point of this whole topic that we're going through is that could have not even been who you really were, but it was edited in a way to present it to us that that's who you were. So for you to say before you went on the show, your approach was going to be, you know what, let's just go on there and be authentic. That's really good, because they've obviously not had to edit a lot about you, because the way you're presented is like it's what we're all picking up now too, that you're a pretty genuine guy.
Good bloke.
Yeah, 100%. And I mean, that was, when you're going on a national TV, you don't want to come out feeling like you have just completely made yourself look like an idiot and been angry with everyone and all that sort of stuff. So you've got to go in there and know that could happen, like, because it could. I mean, people talk about they got the bad edit, it's not so much the edit. You're still that person. They just picked all of those parts of your personality.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? So you can be, when people talk about being the villain on reality TV, it's not that they're the villain all the time. That's just the part they're showing. I mean,
It's a bit that sells.
Yeah, that's exactly
that's right,
right.
yeah.
That's exactly
Makes
what
good
you're
TV.
talking about.
Yeah.
Like it's your entire personality, and that's why people get so angry about it, because they don't believe that they are that person.
Yep.
But when it's shown to them in that lined up fashion, it blows them away, because they don't think they're like that.
It's interesting, because you know that there's an old saying that true colours, right? You see, someone can hold a standard of living for so long, and then flip their lid one time, then somebody comes up with a comment, your true colours are really showing now. Why is it that we say that when someone done something bad, it's their true colours? Why don't we ever judge them on the 10 years of them being so damn good?
100%.
But it takes on one bad thing and go, oh, that's your true colours. That's BS. It's not their true colours. Maybe the way they maintained their living for 10 years of being integral or whatever it is, that's really their true colours. But editing's a funny thing, because if you had a chance to go back to your own life, and we talked a bit about this last week in our topic being rear view mirror, but we'll talk about, I guess in the sense of TV, if you could go back and you talk about editing, it is interesting as an audience member just watching TV, and you have this perception of people because of how it's been edited to us. And so when you go through the editing process of somebody's life and your own life, and you go, like if my life was to be edited to present me a certain way, I wonder how it would look. Because I go to a lot of effort to present myself a certain way. I'm sure we all do, because otherwise we wouldn't, especially, and especially when you look at mateship, the reason we get along is because how we've presented ourselves to each other is why we've been able to connect and, maintain relationships.
Do you think it's a bit of a case of like, there's smoke where, there's no smoke where fire sort of thing? What's the saying? I can't even think
there's
of it. Where
smoke,
there's smoke, there's fire sort of thing. So, like, because they present those things, because if you didn't give them that ammunition, they wouldn't be able to paint such a bad picture for you too. So, and the other thing with True Colours is that when I used to run the business, it was actually funny. I might lose my shit maybe once every 6 months or something. But every time I lost it, they actually said, oh, thanks for that. You know what I mean? Like it was like well, I think so. If you don't actually attack the person, you attack the situation a lot of the time, or what's actually happening. I think that can also take away that sort of, that's just who they are sort of thing. So
I think that's the big difference between being someone that flies off the handle at the drop of a hat and someone that flies off the handle once every 6 months. Your employees or the people around you know that if it is only once every 6 months, when you are getting a bit angry, it's for good reason. You're not just that's not part of your personality. It's just that something's really wrong and it's worked you up enough that you can fly off.
So do you think, let's look at cameras, right? So you guys got followed around. So it was 3 months worth of filming?
Yes.
Were there certain hours set throughout the day where they came to you and said, okay, we don't film from, like, let's just say sleep time. They give you from, so let's say 10 at night till 6 in the morning. We don't film from there. Or do they say to you, be prepared because the camera follows you 24/7 and you need to be ready?
So the cameras are on. So the main camera crews are on from about, I think it's about 5:30 in the morning to about 7:30 at night. That's your big cameras. And then from there, you've just got the nighttime producer carrying around like a sort of smaller camera till about, depending on what's going on. Like if there's not much going on, they might be there till 11. If there's lots going on, like painting through the night and all that sort of stuff, they'll stay there. If there's, content to film, they'll be there the whole time. But you've got to be aware when you sign up to it that you're potentially going to be on camera 24/7.
So when presented with that notion, is there a time where you're like, oh God, the camera's here, okay, smile and put on this facade or carry on, or is it like, oh, the camera's here and you just keep going?
I'm sure there is people out there that are that. They put on their facade and within the block, because of fatigue and all that, it comes out pretty quick that you are putting that facade on. But to be honest, one thing that I took away, and Tam's the same, from being on the block, is the guys behind the camera, so the cameraman, the soundo, the producers, you become such good mates with them, you forget the camera's there. Like they're such good people and, you're closer to them than you are the other contestants. Keep in mind, other contestants are in other houses doing their own thing, but the cameramen and that, they're there all the time. So you become really good mates with them. And I guess that's how they make such good TV, because you literally forget the camera's there. So it's not something that I or Tam or most of the people I know think about putting on that facade for the camera, because you get so used to it being there. You're like, oh yeah, that's right. That's rolling. Can we cut that out? Like, yeah. So.
Which is interesting, because I think if I turned around and there was a camera there, I don't know if I would. I'm just saying this because I'm not experienced in it, but I don't know if I would get used to it. But at the end of the day, you're always being watched regardless. See,
the thing is, you're that busy. Like it's just one other thing in the lineup of jobs and tasks and things that are going on. Like, the block is. I can wholeheartedly, hand on heart, say is 100% real. There is not one skerrick of scripted TV whatsoever. Like, they are literally just filming you going about your day-to-day trying to get this house done. I mean, if you're trying to do this stuff in that short time, shit's going to go wrong. And that's the show. That's what it is. So, I mean, with that, it is what it is. And, they pick up on everything you do.
They warned him before he came on to say, hey, make sure you say
yeah, I'm still contracted, actually. No, I'm not at all.
Say it's real. Say it's real. Yeah. Well, I want to take that analogy and move it into integrity about us as men, and look at situations. And I'll give you guys a bit of a scenario that I'm in right at the moment. Something happened at work, be 6 weeks ago now. One of our apprentices down south had a fire explosion in one of our houses that we just about to hand over. Anyway, it's caused a bit of obviously he got injured quite badly. He's in hospital with burns and stuff. Anyway, fast forward to what I'm dealing with right now out of it is that our insurance company is taking over the repairs of this brand new home. And I was dealing with the trades on getting this house handed over and about to submit some stuff to the insurance company. I was talking to the foreman today about it, saying, okay, look, are there any other costs about to come, because I need to put one claim in to make one solid claim. And I was looking at it going, this is a good chance, because insurance companies are expensive and, it's one thing to pay insurance, but to claim it, you feel like you want to get something back out of it. But I was putting together a bit of a claim going, you know what, I should claim for this and I should claim for that. And I'm going, hang on a minute. Like, as much as I don't like insurance companies and think they just rot everybody and they're making, you know, gazillion dollars, I shouldn't allow that to change the person that I am, because here I'm faced with an opportunity where I could take advantage of this and go, you know what, I could claim this and claim that, and I could probably make a good chunk of coin by claiming dishonestly against the insurance company.
I think that's called fraud, is it?
No, well, it is, but here's the thing, like, don't say any names, obviously, but everyone knows somebody with a story of where there's been an insurance claim on a car, or probably I'm their person.
I don't know anybody.
No.
Never. That's just
Don't
you,
leave
mate.
me out here, lads.
So anyway, boys, no.
Moving on. No, but it was because that's what I'm trying to say is that.
So because this is, you know, we are who we are out in the street to what we are at home. You can tell us the truth now, mate. Who is this guy with this car?
No, what I'm trying to say is, when I was doing some jotting down today, I'm going, oh, you know what, I should claim for this and I should claim for that. I'm going, hang on a minute. No, I shouldn't, because, again, how you do one thing is how you do everything. And let's just say I got away with it. Let's just say I put a bogus claim in for $1,000. Like, let's put a dollar figure on it. Let's call it $1,000. I've created this bogus claim. I submit it and I win it. And at the end of the day, no one's ever going to know about it. I get away with it. I've pocketed an extra $1,000. Great. At the end of the day, you've literally just put a dollar figure on how you value your integrity.
Yeah.
Because I've just now sold my integrity for $1,000.
Yeah.
And that's just me putting a dollar figure on it now, but people do it for a lot less. Like, people sell off their integrity for a lot smaller things. And thinking of that situation today, I'm going, you know what if nobody found out? Because we're faced with situations all the time where we're in scenarios, circumstances where, actually, a good question to throw out. What would you do if you were put in a situation with the absolute guarantee that nobody was ever to find out, but the situation was less, what?
So I had a client recently, Mikey knows about this, where we were doing some auctions for him, and they were given some pricing by another party of what the value of these units were. And in that position, I could have just offered them the money that they were told it was worth and then gone and almost doubled it. Completely legally said to them, this is my offer, do you accept it? I'll do it now before it goes to auction. But my job, I was engaged by the owner who I've been working with, well, the general manager and the managing director who I've been working with for the last 2 years to get them the best dollar value for their plant machinery. I said to them, guys, you're way below market value. One asset was, they were told 60K and we got them 96 for it. Another one was 80 and we got them 145.
Big difference.
Massive. So while there could have been a shortfall win there, like, you know, the upside of nearly 100 grand, where does it show for integrity when those blokes are sitting at a pub talking to each other, or it goes down the chain through other trades? I know you go and get Miguel on the team because those guys are of integrity. They're there to service you for what you've engaged them to do.
I'm a big believer in karma as well. Like, I mean, that,
Yeah.
you know, when you're talking about that, like, you know, if you're actually thinking that it's wrong, then more than likely it's wrong.
Yeah.
And it will come back around. It always does. So,
It got me at childbirth. I got hit with the little dick stick.
Yeah.
Yeah, already got my karma.
So you're still waiting to be compensated for that?
There's nothing we can do about it, mate. I'm sorry.
Ask my wife, she won't lie. She'll tell you.
God.
It's well, you probably know this too, Jimmy. Like, when you're having a business, especially, you know, being plumbers and stuff, I've had so many opportunities in the past. You know, going to the mums and dad's house or working for a builder, whatever it is, but you can take advantage of a situation. I'm not against making money at all. Like, I think making money is great in business if you can, you know, you set goals, you do this kind of stuff, not a problem. But there's definitely been times in business where you go, if I wasn't the person I am, I could definitely take advantage of this situation. And I think...
But the outcome there is purely fiat currency, isn't it? Like, what else are you getting out of it? It's just a money bonus.
Yeah, you're right.
But you also lose a lot more than just integrity there. Trust, loyalty.
Absolutely.
Like all that sort
Mate,
of stuff. If your clients find out you're ripping them off, they're gone.
Yeah.
They're moving on.
Absolutely. Totally agree.
Fully short-term sort
Any
of
other
mentality.
game,
short term.
We
Yeah.
have walked away from so many deals with clients, dude. Like, we could have sold them a piece of equipment, but mate, what's your application? What are you actually going to do with this? This is not going to suit you. And a lot of other dealers out there be like, mate, why would you say that? Because I want them to go down there and have that family barbecue or have that beer with their mate and say, if you need someone that's on your side, go and see these guys.
100%. Yeah. Goes around, comes around.
100%, man. Absolutely.
But also, it's not always about price either. Like, I actually say to people when we're quoting them, we won't be the cheapest because we don't use contractors, labourers. But if something goes wrong, we'll come back and fix it for you. And they're totally, if
So
it
you're
makes
paying for a
sense to them.
service.
Correct. Yeah. So, one thing I want to bring up though is, do you think that integrity comes with maturity?
I can honestly sit here and say I don't believe integrity comes. I don't think it's generational or habitual. It's something that's within a person that can see right from wrong or wants to see right from wrong, or you can feel it within yourself.
I also think it comes from life experience.
Yeah.
Like when you see if you're in an area or you see a lot of people doing wrong, or you can see people ripping other people off. Or for instance, we're all tradesmen. We see it all the day, all day, every day. What you're talking about before, you hear someone going in with a silly price, and you're just like, man, that's too far.
Yeah.
Like, as you were saying before, we're all about making a buck, but there's a difference between making a buck and ripping someone off.
Absolutely.
There's a difference between milking the cow and pulling the teats clean off at 100%, mate.
Actually, going with that analogy right there,
Milking the cow.
yeah, if you milk the cow, right, if you milk the cow, you can milk the cow again another day.
100%.
Rip the teats off the
She's
cow's
gone.
ruin.
Yeah.
That's right.
And it's you literally you rob yourself of any kind of future of, like, you talk on business wise. Actually, sticking with business then, looking at business and personal life, is there a different level or a different style or a different, when you look at integrity as how you approach things in business and how you hold yourself in business to then hold yourself at home, is there a difference?
I would say, for me, there used to be. One thing I could never get across was when you're sending emails to certain people, right? So when you're addressing, like if I say an email or text to Jimmy or one of you boys, you're one of the lads, so it's like, g'day, Cobber, how are you, champ? G'day, mate, whatever. And then when you go into the corporate world, it's supposed to be, good afternoon, sir, half hour. Like, screw all that. So, I don't know, the last, like our general email is g'day at whatever it is. Do you know what I mean? It's not, and I've been told it's too bogan, it's not professional, blah, 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 but people know who they're getting. It is that, not the bogan, it's not the Ocker Aussie, it's just how it is. So now I feel comfortable with it. And I'm like, I don't mean any disrespect by it. I don't mean any sexual innuendos to women when I say, g'day, love, how are you, sweetheart? It's just who I am. Like, I say the same to your wife, right? Like, hey, love, how are you? There's nothing in it. So of more recent times, I think I've become more comfortable in being like that. And you go, well, I am who I am. I know where I'm coming from. That's it. But then the same token, there's other things where I'm not who I am out when I am at home. Like, I only wear the G-strings at home. I don't wear them out. No. I
don't know. I saw you bend over before.
That was just
Couldn't hide that one.
Jimmy. That was just a test to see if you were watching.
Always watching. Cameras are always on.
When you're out, when I'm out in the corporate world, all eyes are on you, and you've got that edge, and by saying the wrong thing, you could potentially do the deal or whatever. So rather than telling someone, I'm going to actually be professional here, Uncle Wayne.
Hold back.
Sorry?
You're holding back. I like it. Keep going.
Rather than telling someone that you don't want to deal with them because they haven't got much grey matter between the ears, like, you actually refrain from doing that and you work through that and you explain it to them 100 times. I don't do that with my kids. Mate, told you once. I'm not telling you 2, 3, 100 times. Like, bang, this is it. So I don't know, like, it's...
Would you call that personality though, not integrity?
I'd call it integrity. Because I'm a man of my word. Like, so with the kids, it's... I've told you, mate. Or if I say back to them, what have we discussed? And they can give it back to me word for word and they understand it. But then you're taking the piss, mate. So you've got no integrity.
I also believe that's you trying to create a good human, though.
Yeah.
Like, create a kid that is going to listen the first time, not just be blasé and, have to have things explained to them 40 times. Like, I mean, that also comes back to being a good dad and being an integral dad,
So
making sure you're creating a good kid.
So later in life,
Absolutely.
someone doesn't have to have that same conversation with your
Yeah,
kid
that's
that
right.
you're having with that corporate person.
Exactly. 100%.
That's why, though, I think that sometimes it does take maturity or learning lessons or actually going through that for
To
you to be able
experience
to create that integrity. Because if you don't know who you are, then it's really hard for you
What
to
is integrity?
Correct. What is it?
Yeah,
You know what I
100%.
mean? So, and I think that that's people who don't have integrity, that's the lesson that they haven't learnt. They haven't learnt who actually am I? Because you don't have, if you don't know who you are, you don't have the confidence to stand there and write, g'day, mate. Like, you know what I mean? In emails and be the person that you are. If you're comfortable with who you are, then it's easier for you to be, have more integrity. And look, one big thing for us here is actually having really good mates. And I think that if you care about the people that you hang around with and having good mates, you want to be that person
Yeah, 100%.
as well.
That's going on. 100%.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Show us your mates, we'll show you your future.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what, and I mean, you guys have got young kids. It comes back to that as well. You're like, you do worry about who your kid's hanging out with because at the end of the day, they're going to be shaped into a similar person to who they're hanging out with. So
Exactly.
That's
every day
exciting.
of the week, it stresses you out.
100%, mate. And you can see it at school.
Yeah.
Heck, like I've seen parents yelling at a child and swearing at a child and saying, don't yell at your brother, while they're yelling and swearing at the kid. You know what I mean?
Learned behaviour.
And you'll see that parent doing that's happened with them from their parent, their grandparent, like it's generational.
Yeah. I think it was you and Robbie talking about ethnic parents telling they tell a story and they lie, you know what I mean, lie in front of the kids and then expect their kids not to lie,
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I think one of the tests on testing your own integrity is how you handle a situation on when you hear negative feedback about yourself. So if you can, do you ever think of a time where, because I've had it in the past, where there's been like a business, something gone wrong with work, someone's not happy with something like that. And I find that one of the best ways you can test your integrity is how you handle hearing a bad review. So
Because a human being's automatic default setting is defence, right?
Yeah.
Oh, it's not me, you did this. Oh, well, you don't know the story. Like, and it can be really confronting and hard to actually sit with that and go, wow. But that's your place of growth, when you can harness that and go, thanks, man. Like that's your place of learning.
Being able to accept that lesson as well, I think, is a part of growth.
Yep.
As we were saying before, like
Yep.
I mean, if you can't take bad feedback, then how do you grow as a person?
yeah.
The feedback I don't like, though, is the person that won't tell you. You know what I mean? That won't tell you
To your face.
sort of thing. That'll talk shit behind your back. That's the
So they're not part of your circle.
yeah. Well, you know what I mean. So I think that I think I mentioned it before. Is that if you got something, if you're going to say something about someone else, you should have enough kahunas to actually say it in front of that person as well. Whatever you're talking about. So
Wayne, you and I have had some really deep conversations and accountability parts.
Yep.
Where certain things that we're professing that we're doing and being leadership as men, and then I've pulled you up and stuff and you pulled me up and stuff and going, mate, we just said it was blue, but now we're saying it's pink. And so to have that friendship with someone that can hold you to account and go, hey, mate, pull your head in, you're being a dickhead, whatever it is. It's like, wow, thanks, dude, because I didn't see that.
Yep. Which is interesting because if you go back a couple of weeks when we did that, was a topic about the circle of mates, and we're talking about the ride or die confidant and the truth teller. The truth teller, if anything, is can be an indicator on revealing your own style of integrity. Having a truth teller in your life, if anything, is beneficial. And not to go back to what we're saying, but to tie into what we're talking about today. If anything, it's an indicator on where you lie with your own ethics, because a truth teller is going to pull you up on where they see you. It doesn't necessarily mean they have to agree or disagree, but you would hope that a truth teller would pull you up on where you're slipping short of your own ethical standards. because, you know, we've all had some good chats about that. You know, we all know where each other stand with ethics and morals and things like that. And I would expect if I wasn't performing in line with it, that I'd be pulled up on it, because that's what a mate does do.
Well, you need it because it can show you that gap. Do you know what I mean? Because, you know...
Because you haven't got the mirror, right?
Yeah. You know, we've gone through our filters and we're like going, cool, this is my version of the events.
Yeah.
But, you know, sometimes it's the total opposite version
100%,
of the events.
mate. Absolutely.
So, did you see that in the block, Jimmy, when you were like, oh, this is how I saw it happening, but then you watched it back on TV and went, whoa,
100%.
That's been edited.
Like
That's
a
been
lot.
changed.
You see that a lot. Like you sort of, you know, the way it sort of panned out is not told in its entirety, you know, and that's TV. Like, I mean, it makes great TV, but then you're sitting on the couch just going, oh, man, if only they could have shown that 30 seconds
That segment before.
extra,
Yeah. Or after.
it'd be a completely different story.
Yeah.
You know, and like that happened not just to us, to everyone. Like, you know, it's a part of it though. Like, I mean, one of the things with being on TV is you have to realise that the person, whether it's you or a mate on TV, they have a character. It's not entirely their personality. The producers are picking and choosing what they choose to make good TV. So if you can put yourself in the mind frame and take that personal space away from it and put yourself as a character in a TV show, then you can sort of accept it.
It's interesting though, isn't it? Is that if someone was watching that though and they walked away without that extra 30 seconds, they could walk away with that same mindset.
Yeah, 100%.
So,
But so in that instance, like Jimmy's talking about, that's how they get their critics, right? That's how they get their ratings.
Yeah, 100%.
That's how they make money.
Yep, 100%. And that's like, you can't blow up about it. Like, you signed up for it, you know what it is.
Yeah.
Like, and if you signed up for it not knowing that was potentially going to happen, then
Should have read the fine print.
you're going in blind.
Editing's a funny thing though. Like, if we were just talking about editing, going back to what you were saying then, Jim, about how, and what you were saying, Jamie, like let's just say you're watching a TV show a reality TV show that's been edited to be presented to us a certain way to tell us and sell us a story, but then you do walk out and you don't come back in, and you've missed probably a vital part which would have changed your whole perspective on somebody. And when you look at the way we live as men, that could also that could tie in where you judge people too quickly. Because if you only know 90% of a story or 90% of the character of a person and you judge them, but then you don't see the outcome, or you don't hear the outcome, you don't see the result of it, quite often you could miss out on what is the reality. So in reality TV isn't reality if it's edited to us in a way that's, and then you tie that into with the way we live our lives. It's so far beyond reality that it's not even a reality anymore. Which then become a reality. I'm just saying reality too many times.
I mean, it is reality because, I mean, you know, they don't put words in your mouth. You're still saying that, you're still acting upon what is shown. So it's not that you're not that person. You're still that person. And that's, I think, one of the biggest eye openers for a lot of people, as I was saying before. They don't realise that that's part of their personality. I think that's what throws a lot of people, and that can happen in real life as well. People don't realise that they're willing to sell their integrity for $1,000 till someone tells them that they've just done that.
Yep.
So,
well, I think having that mindset of actually making mistakes is okay, because, you know, there's probably been times where we've done something which was a mistake and you wish you didn't do it, but that's helped develop that integrity to the next level. Because if everyone was like, you know, thought that what they did was in integrity and didn't care about what other people sort of thought, then that means that they wouldn't actually progress. They don't have that sort of open mindset where they'll go, oh, actually, I'm going to take on that feedback, and maybe that would be a person I'd rather be rather than who I am right now.
character building.
Yeah.
So you look at times on where you said this word just briefly before, and I picked up on it, and I want to play on that a bit, but you said the word character, right? So let's just look at reality TV again. We're getting portrayed. They've created a character of somebody and presented to us as a character, but it doesn't mean it's the real person, which is interesting because I think maybe that's what we do as men. Maybe it's not that we're dropping our guard in our integrity or things like that, but maybe we're playing different characters. Are we a different character in business than when we are at home? Are we a different character when we're at the pub with your mates? Are you different in character when, like, are we in and out of character?
I think 100% because I'm a big believer within work that when you come home, you hang your jacket up. And that could be your work character per se.
Yeah, that's a
you know
good
what I mean?
thought,
Like you don't bring it into the house and take it out on your family. If you've had a crappy day, jacket gets hung up, gets left there till the morning, pick it back up on your way out to work, solve your problems and move on. You do never take that into the house. And I mean, that could definitely transpire into those different characters for sure.
When you look at times when we're under pressure, again, going back to that statement we said about true colours, right? When we're under pressure, and actually Jimmy said it at the start as well, about your cup being so, it's like TV, what gets presented to us again, but when the guy's filming, they know that the pressure's building up or someone might be about to snap or someone might be able to break, and so more cameras kind of get involved kind of thing because obviously it makes good TV, but when the snap finally happens, and we look at this in our lives, when we do snap, right? Like you look at a cup of water, for example. If I kept filling this cup up to the very brim and I walked around and bumped, if somebody bumped me, what would come out of the cup? It's not going to come out, it's not going to be Coke. It's not going to be coffee. It's going to be water. What's going to come out of the cup is whatever's been filled into the cup. So when you look at your own life as men and the pressures do build up, the times get tough to the point where we're right at the fill, and then all of a sudden life comes in and hits us hard and it spills us and we crack it. We get angry or whatever comes out of us. Whatever comes out of us is what is actually in us. So maybe times of pressure should be embraced as an indicator to go, it's actually shown me what I've been filling myself up with. So times of pressure and times of hardship, we should possibly embrace it and go, okay, this is going to be a testing time to show what I've been putting in.
I 100% agree with that. I 100% agree with that. And I think culture's changing and it's shifting, and it has been for the last probably 5 years, where as men now we aren't expected to just bottle it up and, we're talking about a cup being full. We aren't expected just to make that cup bigger and bigger and bigger and turn it into a jug. Like we can now get to that rim and go, look, I need to talk to someone.
Yeah, I need some help.
Yeah. Like I need some help. I need to relax. It's starting to play out on my family. I can see that. I want to do something about it. And I think that's such an amazing thing that our culture is making that shift.
That's a good thought what you just said. That I've never thought of this way, but it's as if society looks towards men to continue to make their cup bigger. In other words, you should be able to handle more. Yep. And then when it looks like you're about to spill, tip, explode, okay, we'll just make your cup bigger.
Yep.
No one ever says, okay, pour some out, take a break, relieve it, pour it out. But it's as if society goes, no, make your cup bigger, build some edges, build some sides, make it taller.
Deal with it.
Thought.
Yeah. I think that's why having good mates is important, because if you've got someone in your life who's been through what you're going through right now, that was actually what happened last week at AJ's. There was a guy who came in fresh off a breakup and was absolutely struggling, and like hindsight looking back, which I don't know whether I should say this, but I was like, mate, my divorce was the best thing that ever happened to me in my life. Like, do you know what I mean? It was like you go from an unhappy situation and showing my son like an unhealthy relationship sort of thing, or unhappy relationship. There wasn't anything really bad, but it was just neither of us wanted to be there, to an opportunity now for you to be a different person and actually have an opportunity to show my son what a healthy, happy, great relationship is. So I think that sometimes being able to just actually talk to someone and go, this is what's going through, and, but rather than saying, oh, that's going to happen to you, it's like, well, let me just tell you my story and where we're at, sort of the light at the end of the tunnel sort of thing. I think that is a big part of being able to empty that cup and go, because really all we want to know is everything's going to be all right, And as a man, you're supposed to be the guy who's saying that, but we do need people who actually can say that to us without judgment.
Discover multi-award-winning real estate with podcast sponsor One Life Property Group, based on the Sunshine Coast, Queensland, specialising in everything from high-end duplexes to multi-residential developments, ensuring the highest quality workmanship. Visit onelifepropertygroup.com.au today to achieve excellence in your next property development.
Well, you were saying before there about, I think it was you, Jimmy, that touched on it, mate. We're in a position now, I suppose, with modern day society, that it's accepted that blokes can have mental issues and we can talk about it. If you look back, I'd say all of our dads, definitely all of our grandfathers, if you spoke about your mental health back then, you're weak.
Yeah, weak as piss.
There you go, spot on, mate. And I've heard that so many times. What is wrong with you? You're weak as piss. You're worth nothing. You can't handle it. So instead, I can tell you, I know for a fact what those fellas did. They went down the pub, drank copious amounts of piss,
And punched on. Yeah.
That was how they dealt with it. That was how they. So their suppression was, or so they thought, have a beer, take the edge off it, and then it came out. So like you said, cup's full now. What happens next? One trigger, boom, she's on.
100%.
Punch up.
Do you also think that guys go out and get on the booze because they can blame it on the alcohol, like what they say and how express how they feel during that time?
I wouldn't say just that. I think it's become a custom as part of life. Like if you look at, mate, the fellow sitting over the corner there, the English. Like how old's the oldest pub in England? It's over 1,000 years old. And where did the blokes congregate? Couldn't feed their, and not taking the piss out of the English here, but the depression and blokes going through anxiety, depression, can't feed their wife and kids, can still find money for a beer. Because they find, I don't know.
Solace.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And that's rather than having a dad going, mate, I'm feeling a bit flat. I'm going to go and do a bit of yoga. I'm going to go for a surf. I'm going to go down the beach, and I'm just going to be present with nature, opposed to going and getting smashed, then feeling hungover, then the depression and anxiety sinking in, and you're going 10 times worse.
I think there's a massive shift in society with
Absolutely.
that at the moment as well. I mean,
Yep.
I'm nearly a year sober now. I haven't had a beer, haven't had a drop of alcohol, and I feel better for it, and I feel more integral for my child, my daughter.
Yeah, wow.
She's not seeing me having a beer every afternoon, getting, having people over, and then there's just the next day we're cleaning up empty bottles. You know what I mean? Like it feels a lot better, and it feels like she's getting way better lessons of life than, get to Friday, we drink, we hung over on Sunday, laying on the couch, doing nothing, then we go back to work Monday, do it all again.
Yeah.
Like that is just,
You're gifting her the ability to say there's so much more to life than that repetitive Monday to Friday grind. And we've spoken about this, but I've seen it with my own parents. Like you're saying before about the Europeans, the ethnics. I remember getting in cars with mum and dad, and the whole way there to another family member's place or a family friend's place, whinging, bitching, and moaning how much they dislike them, and then get there and almost make love to them on the spot. Oh, it's so great to see you, and then get back in the car, drive home again, and complain about the whole freaking situation. The next day, we tell a lie and we get a hiding for it. Hello, dickhead. What have you just shown us?
Have you noticed, Jimmy, with now that you had a year sober, like how ingrained alcohol is into the social settings?
Massive.
It's massive, mate. It is.
It's everywhere.
It's everywhere. Like it is absolutely everywhere. But as I was saying before, there is a shift. Like more and more people are starting to look after themselves a lot more. And, where I live in Pomona, we've got Mount Karora. So more and more people are up and down that. I'm seeing a lot more. And the other thing I see, I go to a place in Noosaville called TH7, which is like a recovery centre. And it's like your saunas, steam room, ice baths, contrast therapy sort of stuff. I go there every week, and I'm seeing more and more young blokes. Like I go on a Friday. So Friday lunchtime, just after lunch, I usually go there. And I'm seeing 21-year-old blokes there, in groups of 20-year-old blokes, 20, to 30, 35, 40. Blokes going to these recovery centres to try and look after themselves a bit better. When I was 21, Friday afternoon...
You're at the pub.
I was at the pub.
Absolutely.
I was at the pub, and that was... Everyone was at the pub.
Banging on with Paul and whatever else.
Exactly. We were either at the pub or you were at a mate's house, but wherever you were, there was beers going down. That was just how it was. So there's this massive shift where people are really, really honing in on looking after themselves, which is amazing to see.
Especially at that age, 21, mate. Yeah. Like that's head screwed on, right?
Absolutely.
What do you think that is? Do you think it's because of social media is now so prevalent that it's pushing us an agenda to get healthier? Or do you think it's pressures from relationships or?
So many people say, sorry, Jimmy.
No, you're right.
So many people say social media is unhealthy and it's bad and it creates depression and anxiety. Social media is a freaking tool. It's the people that put stuff on there that make it bad, right? So in saying that, I believe the kids are a lot more educated now with social media if they use it for the right reasons. Like they're more outspoken. There's no more, you'll be seen and not heard. You're a child. You sit out the back while the parents sit in here and eat. No, you're our next generation. You need to be part of this.
I think there's also a factor there of, things getting posted to social media.
Yeah.
When I was 18, there was no camera phones. If you did something stupid when you were drunk, someone's got a story, be like, no, that didn't happen. But now everything's being filmed. Like if someone, doesn't matter what you do, if you do something stupid, it's going to social media.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of people are sort of, stepping back going, I don't want to be that person. Or if we go back to integrity, now they are seeing that they are that person because it's being posted or filmed or whatever it is. They're seeing that they're that person. They don't want to be that person. So
it's almost like an automatic checkmate.
100%.
Yeah.
I think that's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
Interesting, though, is that how many people actually pull out the phone rather than going to help that person?
Yeah, absolutely.
People are
know
more
what I mean?
interested now to actually put things on camera than to step in and solve a
Yeah.
situation.
Yep. Mate, as an emergency service worker, like we go to car accidents, like as a fiery, like people will be trying to help, and you look around, the general public got their phones out. You're like, what are you filming, mate? This is someone's worst day of their life.
Yeah.
Like
Potentially
stop taking,
dying.
yeah, exactly.
Bleeding
Like
out,
put your phone away, like go away, and like it's horrible to see.
Just going back a bit to what you're saying, the changes that you've noticed in yourself in your home life with your daughter not seeing you drunk on the weekends and things like that. It's interesting how in this situation it's like you don't want your daughter to see that. In other words, you recognise that right now your daughter is the video camera filming your life right now. So in staying with what we're talking about, how the camera's always rolling, it's interesting how you've noticed and you've recognised that was a massive change because she is always watching.
100%.
I've got 4 kids. I've got so many things, employees. I've got wife. I've got so many things watching me all the time. And isn't it? It's interesting how that can be the driving force to make positive change.
Yeah, definitely.
Because of the fact that there is a camera, and in this case, it can be our kids or whatever. But those eyeballs are watching.
Maybe
So,
that could
Jimmy,
be.
you're living your true life because you're not just drinking beer or having a beer with the boys outside of home. When you go home, you're still not doing it, and vice versa.
Yeah, exactly.
You're not just being this role model for your little girl going, there's more to life, and we're going to go to the beach this weekend instead of watching Netflix and being hungover. You don't actually go with the boys and get on it, after work or whatever.
Yeah, you're right.
You're more present,
Yeah, 100% more present, and that's a perfect way of putting it. Like prior to not drinking, it was Friday afternoon, mates over, kids go play while we're doing our thing. But now it's the kids are more involved. Like my daughter, we will go somewhere. We'll go out for dinner more rather than just going. Let's go to someone's house, get on it, and then that's all you need to know about the Friday night.
What was your old man? Was he a tradie or a labourer? Or
He was a wardsman groundsman at a hospital for 20 years, but never. Mate, I grew up. My parents didn't really drink. My dad would have a beer or a rum on a special occasion, but my mum didn't really drink either. So, and it's not even from that. Like it's not that I grew up with alcoholism, so I wanted to fight against it. It's about myself.
Yeah.
And realising my own faults with drinking so much and not wanting my daughter to grow up seeing
making
that.
silly decisions like going on the block.
Yeah, no, that was the best decision of my life. Completely changed their lives.
Yeah. Do you think that that's also a shift, though, as we become more aware how trauma and stuff has damaged us in the past, that we don't want to actually put that onto our kids?
100%.
You know?
Absolutely.
You bet.
Yet previously, people might have just thought, mate, that's just who he is.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So they don't.
It was just accepted.
Yeah.
Yep.
Equally, though, I feel sorry for the people that can't see it. I genuinely feel sorry for them.
Yep.
Because I was at that point, at some point in my life, until I had to hit rock bottom, bankruptcy, blah, 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 and look at all the failed relationships where people didn't want to be around me because of my aggression and whatever else, and all the bullshit and all the stories you made up.
Yep.
And then the awakening, it was intense. It was like, so part of it was like, I wanted to keep drinking. You know what I mean? Like ridiculously drinking, like smashed every night.
Yep.
Functioning alcoholic, whatever, but...
Yeah, well, that's what I was saying with the shift with alcohol, because I dated a girl who didn't drink. Her parents didn't drink. So to go to social occasions like Christmas, birthdays, barbecues.
You were the naughty uncle.
No, well, I didn't drink either. You know what I mean? So, I was there. But it was just surreal because it actually opened up my eyes to go, wow, it's not normal. Like,
There is another world.
there's a
100%.
whole, it's just, where previous to that, it was just accepted. Everyone would be drinking. Do you know what I mean? And you would be the odd one out if you didn't. So,
Where did you pick up a beer, mate? Would you put it down to being a tradie? And that's just pretty much what are you doing this afternoon, mate? Yeah, catch up for a couple of beers.
Yeah, I would say that's a pretty
It's a bit of a culture.
pretty valid point. Yeah,
Yeah.
like I mean, it is, and because we work so hard, like there is nothing better, and like not even though I don't drink, I still believe there's nothing better than a cold beer after a long old hot day.
Yeah, 100%.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and I love the taste of it. So I haven't had one for ages, but the some of the non-alcoholic beers, they've gotten a lot better. So they taste like beer now, and just that thirst quencher without having the alcohol in it I still enjoy that.
Yep.
And I
Yep.
guess that's probably ingrained from being a tradie, like you get that hot day and you just like, you can taste it.
Yep.
So.
You're starting to make me salivate, dude.
I felt guilty for having a sip right now. So.
I was thinking about the cup again before, not to go back too far, but in regards to the cup, right? Let's just say, as men, that there's the build up in the cup, and you're at a point where you feel like you're going to break. In the build up and leading to break, is there a point where you go, okay, I'm going to allow myself to break if it goes against your ethics and your morals? Like, how long do you hold on to before you break? Do you give yourself permission to break if it's going to go against your morals and your ethics?
That's a good one.
That's a
That's
tough
a really good
question,
one.
but I don't think breaking your morals and ethics to overflow the cup is a good enough reason. Like, if you're that bang on about your integrity and your morals, then that's really tough. That's really because
Depends
then
on
I
who's
just,
involved
as I
and
was
what's at
saying, I
stake.
was like, I'm going to double back to making that cup bigger. Like, do we just keep banging on? Like, that's a really tough one, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, I think it also depends on how big the cup is, because if the cup is so big, you might not be able to control how you react to that and what happens. Do you know what I mean? Like, you might just lose it. So yeah,
I think if anything, it actually exposes really what integrity is. Because if you're at a breaking point, let's call it, or a spilling point, whatever you want to call it, and you're at that end and you are now challenged and tested to break your own moral code or your own ethic code, if you're at the point right there and you decide to continue to go on again, I believe that's what integrity is. That's integrity in a nutshell, because you've been challenged and tested to break what you've built within yourself. Because everybody, although we have laws set as a country, everybody has created their own inner laws, which are your
Integrity?
own form of
Yep.
integrity. Yeah, so
100%.
your own form of morals and ethics, because we create those because we've been raised different ways. We have different, religious beliefs or whatever it is, because everybody has a separate. Everyone will allow themselves to go to different points on whatever it is, their own morals. So when you're at that testing point and you are about to break and you don't, I believe that's where you go, wow,
That's
I've
your growth right
discovered
there.
my integrity right there. I didn't break.
Is that your
Growth,
point of making your cup bigger? Like, is that the point?
I don't think it's making your
Where
cup
you do
bigger.
that?
I think it's you've got to that point.
That's a good thought. I don't know.
I think
Like
you've got to that point and you've learnt how to deal with that. So things that would irritate you at the start. So we've all been in business and stuff, right? You've been on the block, dude. So you've been up against some pretty high pressure situations and things that you can't run away from and escape. Like go home for the weekend, pick it up Monday, and put on a new facade. It's there. So like Wayne, some of the challenges you go through weekly with running your business interstate, with so many variables in it, mate, dealing with, builders, employees, contractors, suppliers, the stuff that you're up against every week, could you have done that day one when you're an apprentice?
God, no.
There you go.
Yeah.
So,
I couldn't do it for
and
2 years. After I moved here, I still couldn't do it for 2 years.
It's because you were surfing, mate.
I can't surf to save my life. I flew back every week for the first year. I flew back every week, and then after 2 years, I flew back every second week.
And therefore, then you get to a point, right, where you learn. So is it that you're overflowing your cup or you just, certain things don't irritate you as much as they used to, or you know how to handle them? It's like...
I can answer that question, and it's I don't know how it's going to sound, but I'll tell you what was the pinnacle of me being able to let go was being able to trust the integrity of somebody else.
Yeah.
Because we had to obviously we started the business by I was still supervising by going down there every week.
Yep.
But I had subcontractors and all this kind of stuff. And then once I got a proper supervisor in, to take that role, I had to trust their integrity because I live so far away. So I had to entrust them with, hey, these are the decisions that, I would make. This is how we do it. And I firmly believe I have the right person. We've had him for nearly 7 years now. He's like family. He's a great guy. But I have to trust his integrity. Now, where's his integrity?
What got you to that point, though, right? Like, so, because there's always that reactive state of mind. The reactive state of mind's probably the strongest part of the brain. The alert keeps you alive. Blah, blah, it's instinctive. To go, it's okay. We've been through this. We can see the signs. He's a good guy. To get to that point and let go of it.
This is going to actually probably sound bad. I don't mean it to sound bad, but it may sound bad. I learned years ago, somebody said to me, be prepared for somebody to be 80% as good as what they present themselves to be. Now, I'm not saying this guy's that because I love this guy, and he's probably going to listen to this podcast, so be careful what I'm saying. I don't take him for that, but I've found that what you can let go and trust other people if you're okay with them only being 80% as good as the way they've presented themselves. So if Jamie's a good mate. I love the guy, but as good as I believe he's to be, if he only ever performs to 80% of that, if I'm still okay with that, I can deal with that. And I think that was the point for me to be able to let go in a way that I did, to go, right, how do we set a budget? How do we set goals? How do we do all this kind of stuff if it only was as good as 80% as what we thought it would be? Can we still make it work if it operates at 80%? We can. Now, that 80% was right across the board. 80% in him being as ethical and as moral as he is 100%. But I'm just saying we were prepared for it to be 80. If the financial goals, all these kind of things worked at 80%.
The thing with that is your 80% or your 100% will never ever be another human being's 100%.
Absolutely.
Because they've got
that's why you allow
different
for
triggers,
80.
different controls, different standards, different ethics, different he might be 80% in something that he's really good at, the marketing, right, for example, and the business mentoring. We use it equally business mentoring, but the marketing side of things, with what Wayne could do, you might class as 80% in your book.
Well, it's funny you said that because that was my rule always, is that if they can do 80% of what you do, let them go.
Yeah.
Because they can learn, they can grow.
Yeah.
And if you go and do 100, go somewhere else and do your 100% and they're only doing 80,
Yep.
well, that's 180%.
Yep.
So, and some people just can't let go of what they have, and they're just stuck there, So I think you have to trust, and you have to understand that sometimes people are going to let you down, and sometimes people are going to do the wrong thing.
Yep.
My thought process on that is that I'd rather know quickly rather than find out 5-10 years later when I've actually spent, that time building the relationship and doing so much for those people. I just want to know who people are, straight away.
Where we're at today, though, in our lives, mate, it doesn't even take a week. You can generally tell after spending a few hours with a person, right?
I think you have to, though. I think you have to judge now. I know people say, don't judge. That's a load of crap. You have to judge. In a society like today, as fast-paced as we are, I don't have time to try and suss people out over a 5-year period to then decide if I'm going to pursue becoming your mate. You have to judge pretty quick.
Is it judging or is it going, red flag doesn't suit my standard?
Oh, I think
red flag doesn't suit my standard.
I go through values. So I know the type of people that I want in my life. And it's actually different for personal and also for my goals as well too. So if I know I've got different values for my goals on what I want to achieve in any particular time. But with people, I've also got values that I look for and just knowing that means I can judge people quicker. But actually taking the time to go, what are the people that I want in my life will actually, and also the best thing about that is that it's so much easier for you to actually have integrity and know who you are.
Yep.
If you're actually thinking about that and promoting it to other people. So
one of the things I also believe is that if you're making a conscious effort all the time to challenge yourself to be a better person, right, to be a better man, and you've set your own ethics, your own morals, your own standards. When you live to that and people are attracted to it, it's not because they're different to you. They're attracted to it just because they're like you.
Yeah.
So if you are living at a certain way and you're going, oh, you know, these are the morals I have, these are the standards I have, this is how I'm going to live my life, and those people come, that's an indication that they themselves are possibly a good person also, because there's a saying in the building industry that good trades recommend good trades, right? And I've always been, and you'd get this too, Jimmy, you'd get this, is that you do your best to, in my case, being a good plumber. And if the client is really, really happy with you and they say, oh, look, can you ever recommend somebody else? Chances are you're going to recommend somebody. It might be a tiler, might be an electrician, doesn't matter what it is. Doesn't matter what industry. If you are a good person, chances are the person you're going to recommend is also a good person, because, birds of a feather flock together.
Yeah.
I remember when I first met Mikey. Mike and I have known each other, I think 6 years now. Is that 5? Say 6 years. He was a sales rep for a radio station. Now, when he came over and we started getting to chat, and I've said this to him many, many times, his role was to sell me, and I hope his old boss isn't listening to this, because, well, not that it matters, but I didn't once felt like I was being sold to. There was something that clicked where he's supposed to be selling me an ad, but we're talking normal life stuff, and I'm going, actually I'm sensing something about this guy that I'm connecting with, that, but it was the style of, like, that I did judge him, and it's just the truth, because you do, but you sense stories that they tell, things that we go, I actually think I like that person, he's a pretty cool dude. And then he was supposed to be coming around to selling me and upgrade me on ads, but we would just sit down and have a good yarn and have a coffee or whatever, and that's how we became mates, and as good as mates as we are, because when your ethics and that align, and in this case, integrity and things like that, when they align, it's an indication to you that if you're aligning with somebody, one, good on you, but two, good on them, because you've connected with somebody that should be telling them that, hey, if you are a good person, you've chosen to continue to stay with that person, you both must be good blokes.
Mm.
Yeah, we often, Tam and I, when we meet new people, if you get that instant connection, which what you're talking about, when we get back in the car or go home, you're like, oh, we think they're our people. Like, we call them our people.
Exactly. I use that phrase exactly.
Yeah, like you get that feeling, and I think that's really important, because, and I think what you were saying before is bang on, man. We live way too fast to let it ride out for 5 months. Like, if you've got a red flag, cut it loose.
Yeah, 100%.
Like, you just have to these days, because it's just, everything's just go, go, go. That red flag's there for too long, it's going to bring you down.
Yep.
So, I mean, yeah, we do all the time. They'll think they're our people. Let's hang out with them again. Let's stay in contact with them.
I find the older I get, maybe I judge too quick, I don't know, but I look, I don't want to say I look for red flags, that probably sounds wrong, but I don't have time to, the older I get, I don't have time, but I don't have the
Patience.
That's the word. I don't have the patience to fluff around and go,
exactly the same.
who is this bloke?
Just walk away.
Yeah, exactly right.
Or like the penguins of Madagascar, just smile and wave. Just smile and wave.
But we did that, Miguel. We've only known each other coming up to a year. I think next month is a year. But we hit it off right away because there was an instant connection.
No, but it was. But the setting where we met too, mate.
That's right.
Was
instant like-mindedness.
Pardon?
It was an instant like-mindedness because we're at the same conference doing the same thing.
And the level of people that were in that room wasn't a free-for-all. It was something that you had to invest in yourself to even get to that level. And there was a financial commitment to be there. There was a time commitment to be there, away from your family, all of it. So the people that were in that room, well, how many of us were there? You're talking about when we were with Cherie Eilertson?
30-ish, 40.
That's it, 30. Out of a room originally that held about 2,500, 3,000 people. So you've got to know that the people are in there for the right reasons, they're bettering themselves.
Yeah.
Well, it is a case of proximity is power. You know what I mean? Like, I've got a really, really good mate who had drop shipping businesses and was killing it and all the rest of it. And he upgraded himself to a business class flight to Bali when he was heading over there. Yeah. Met another person, went out, spent time together, and now he's helping with developments and stuff over in Bali. And it's like, and that is way more profitable than all these other businesses. You know,
Business class flights, dude, on long hauls are awesome. Do you know why? Because the other poor bastards can't escape. And you've got them for the next 5 hours or whatever it is. But seriously, you meet some really cool people, man.
Yeah.
But that's, I mean, you surround yourself with the people that are going to make you grow, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, there's no point surrounding yourself with people that have no ambition, no drive, stagnant.
Yeah.
That are just doing the same thing. You surround yourself with those people that are looking for the next best thing, the next big thing.
Couldn't agree more.
You know, trying to push forward. That will push you to push forward.
If you can find a tribe that's holistically looking, and when I say holistically, every part of their life, right? So whether it's spiritual, mental, physical, sexual, health, like, and not just, you know, mental health, physical health. You know, like you're saying before, mate, what you're consuming, you know, whether it's in a fluid sense or a food sense, financial wealth, like all of it.
Yeah.
It's because whatever challenge you come up against, you just bounce off it. It's like, that's all you got. Come on, give me some more. And then the universe hears you and it gives you a shitload.
One thing I want to put out there, though, is that sometimes, you know, when you get that sort of thought process, you go, I want to be a better man and I'm going to do this and I'm going to do this and I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that sort of thing. Like, I think I was thinking about this week where I was like, oh, you know, because we go to the gym in the morning, but I was like, okay, well, I could actually start going in the afternoons as well with Kobe, and I could do this, and, you know, we'll play golf once a week and we could go surfing on the weekends. I get these grand ideas, but
When do you endorse them?
if I don't do them all, like, you know, I used to beat myself up about that when I was younger.
Feel guilty?
Yeah, and I had to learn that lesson that you don't have to be perfect. Like, as long as you're getting better,
And you're
because I
progressing,
think
100%.
correct, because you're not, and I think that is over time where that integrity and that sort of who you are as a person, you know,
Because you're still showing up, right?
Yeah,
You
'cause
might not have hit target every time, but you're still showing up, you're still progressing, you're still
Yeah.
making change.
because if you show me a person who's had an easy ride, that's not my people.
No.
Do you know what I mean? You're not going to learn anything by everything being easy. As you said, you started businesses and you didn't give up. You kept going.
You're waiting for your
And
breaks.
Yeah.
To be fair, your break that you took was probably the hardest challenge you've ever conquered and your missus was right there with you, dude.
Yeah.
In your life.
There's so many levels of challenge to being on the block as well. Like, we were away from Frankie for an extended period of time. Like, that in itself's hard. And then you've got the build that's hard. And then you've got, when it goes to air, that's hard because you've got social media in the background tearing you to pieces. Like, there's so many different levels of stress that come with that. It's not just the build, like being away, being in a new state, not knowing where you are, feeling out of place, in a whole new industry. I mean, I'm a tradesman. Tam was a bar manager. We'd never been in the entertainment industry. We had no idea what it consisted of. So we had to grow as people and adapt and overcome those challenges, and we became better people because of it all.
Because that would be so difficult, wouldn't it? Because social media can bag you out, and then you know who you are.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean? So dealing with that,
that's right.
is there anything that you did with that?
It'd
Or?
be really hard not to take it personally, hey?
Yeah, well, for us, so as I was saying at the start of the podcast, we went on with a goal of staying out of the drama, you know, just going through, doing our thing, blah, blah, blah. We got to the end of the show and went, sweet, we should be sweet. And we were. But then what we didn't take into account was Australia's tall poppy syndrome. They hate people succeeding.
Isn't that the
There's
truth, though?
Always a
It's so
reason.
sad about
There's
Australia.
always a reason that you've succeeded. Like, you can't just be good at it. You can't just be better than someone at it. There's always a reason behind it. And like, we got to the point where, when obviously we know when we were winning and losing and all that sort of jazz. So like, we got to the point because we won so much and we were copping so much hate for winning so much, and like literally comments on social media saying Tam must be sleeping with Scotty and shit like that. You know, like just tall poppy syndrome is the worst enemy, number one on that sort of stuff. You know, and it, you know, we got to a point that we knew we were winning that week. We couldn't watch. Like, we couldn't watch, we couldn't go on social media because we knew we were going to get torn to shreds for winning. Even though we deserved to win. We won fair and square. We were better. The room was better. Everything was better. But because of Australia's goddamn tall poppy syndrome, we got torn to shreds.
Because there'd be dads out there.
That's interesting, eh?
Because that would worry me, is that, you know, with social media these days, if someone doesn't like your kid, or if there's a group of people that don't like your kids, like that could be
kids have committed suicide over it.
Yeah, that's
I personally know of families in the NT who have lost children from it.
yeah.
And looking back through the child's social media platform, the kids at their school have said, we suggest you go and commit suicide.
Yeah, horrible.
Like 14, 15-year-olds, 13-year-olds, man.
Yeah.
Insane. And I go back to going, Facebook is not the problem. It's the consumers. It's the people that are putting content on there. Look, this glass, there's nothing wrong with that glass, but in the right hand, maybe the wrong hand, it's a lethal weapon. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's the same with social media.
It just comes back to, what we were talking about before, having a facade. Like all these content creators are putting this facade up that their life is great. They're always on holidays. They're making millions of dollars from creating content and building this fake lifestyle that our kids are seeing
And want to be.
and going, why can't I have
Yeah.
that? What's wrong with me? Why can't I? Blah. And like sort of aiming themselves up against that sort of fake crap, basically.
And 90% of that stuff too, mate, are people jumping fences at night time and getting photos of freaking planes on a tarmac, or walking into a Ferrari dealer and taking a selfie.
Yeah.
So something I'd like to know though is there something you did to sort of reframe those mindsets? Because there would be dads out there that maybe those kids are going through that, and is there something that's sort of like something you said to yourself or a different way to look at it that actually helped you not deal with those types of things? Or
Processing it and analysing it is what they're saying a reflection of who I am. And do I have to tell them, do I have to defend myself? Like, you got critics there, and look, man, there'd be people out there that still hate you.
Oh, 100%.
And don't even know you, never spent time with you.
Yeah.
I've been in situations, actually in a specific bar in Port Hedland, where I heard my name being slandered, sat up next to a guy, bought him a beer, tell me more about this Miguel character.
Yeah.
He write me off clear as bell.
Yeah.
Pulled out my wallet, said, hope you enjoyed your beer, champ. And I'm Miguel.
Yeah.
Like, mic drop. Like,
The number one question, the number one question we get asked, and you asked me this when I walked in here today, what's Scotty Cam really like?
why'd you have to say that on air, mate? Come on, buddy.
And that's literally the number one question we get asked. And Scotty's an absolute legend. Like he is an average Joe. Like he is just a bloke. If you're a red hot cracker and just are having a crack and not being lazy, not being entitled, he'll give you all the time of the day. But then people create their own perception of someone because of what they're being shown on TV because they don't like it. You know what I mean? Like it's one of those
critics again,
things.
right?
Yeah, man. And it's so hard to try and combat that when you know someone like, I mean, I know Scotty really well and I love the bloke. He's an absolute legend. And when you see people just tearing him to shreds, you're like, you don't even know him.
Yeah.
Like you do not know this bloke personally. Like what you're basing your opinion off this person is nothing, is 1% of their personality.
Which ties into exactly what, because it's funny for you to ask that question, what's he really like? It's because you're asking from an angle of what we've been presented, tying into what we're saying. So we have this concept of what Scotty Cam would be like because of how he's been portrayed. For you to respond the way you have proves that, let's just keep using Scotty as an example. He's the same bloke on camera and off camera.
100%. 100% the same bloke on camera as he's off. He's funny story. Tam and I were driving one day and Bilko from 90, Zinc was ripping into Scotty and we weren't having a bar of it. So we rung the radio station, went live on radio and said, mate, have you ever met Scotty? Do you know Scotty personally? He's like, oh, no, it's just, what we see on TV. I'm like, well, how can you have an opinion of someone if you don't actually know them? Like you're here on radio broadcasting to how many other 1,000 people's your opinion, your negative opinion of someone that you don't even know. Like, and he backpedaled straight away and he's like, and then we got into the conversation of what he's really like. And we were like, he's a legend. Hopefully one day you get to meet him and you can make a proper
apology or analogy of who he is.
You can understand that he's actually a really good bloke.
Yeah.
well, maybe we should invite him on if he's
Scotty,
an
if you're
average
listening,
Joe, so.
you're on. I'm gonna send you an email, book a date.
I can hook you up with a guy called Jimmy. He's probably got his details, mate.
Well, gentlemen, I'm happy to wrap it up there. That's been really good. appreciate your input. Like I say every week, love having you guys on. And Jimmy, thanks for joining us today, buddy.
My
Really,
pleasure.
really
It's been great.
appreciate it, mate.
If I can say something, mate, before we do wrap it up,
Go for it.
like sitting here with you, dude, what you see on TV with you is who you are. Like
Thank you.
you're
Yeah.
mellow, the energy,
100%.
there's no fake bullshit. Even in the car park when we met you outside, mate. How you going, champ? And when you got close, I'm like, oh, I know who that is. So for you to give Scotty that endorsement, anyone that does know you knows how real that endorsement is, right?
Yeah, 100%.
And
And
all the rest
that's
of them?
great to hear too, because I mean, as men, we strive to be who we are.
Yeah.
We strive to be better people, and we want to be portrayed as the person we are.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that's great to hear. Thank you.
I'll back that up to you, mate, because like I said at the start, I reached out to you hoping that you were like how you were portrayed on TV. You're over and above that, mate. So hats off to you.
absolutely.
Actually, you're a
100%.
really genuine good bloke.
Thank you.
So,
I'll say the same thing now. 'Cause,
just jump on the bandwagon, Jamie. Have your own input, mate. Stop
they're on
copying.
out. Yeah.
Well, we're up
Peer
there.
pressure.
Well, gentlemen, thanks for joining us here at the Men's Collective podcast. We are the Average Joes. Just remember this week to get along to your AJ's meetup. It's the most important thing. Don't forget to subscribe and give us a review. Bumps us up to the top, which is what we love, want our message to get out there. So, gentlemen, thanks for joining us. And guys on the panel, thank you once again.
Thanks
Thanks,
for having
boys.
us, mate.
Cheers,
Have a great
mate.
weekend,
Thank you.
gentlemen.